The term Fourth Industrial Revolution was coined by the founder of the World Economic Forum, a former professor named Klaus Schwab. Schwab wrote a book with that title to describe an era marked by a technological revolution that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological spheres. Let's break that down. Technologies like artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicles, or the Internet of Things are becoming ingrained in our day-to-day lives and even our bodies. Think of voice-activated virtual assistants, Face ID recognition, or healthcare sensors. Schwab first presented his vision of the Fourth Industrial Revolution at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting here in Davos in 2016. But to understand the idea, we need to go much further back in history, to Industrial Revolution number 1. The first Industrial Revolution started in Great Britain around 1760 and spread to Europe and North America through the early 1800s. It was powered by a major invention, the steam engine. The result? New manufacturing processes, the creation of factories, and a booming textiles industry. From the late 1800s, the Second Industrial Revolution was marked by mass production and new industries like steel, oil, and electricity. The light bulb, telephone, and internal combustion engine were a few of the major inventions of this era. The Third Industrial Revolution, sometimes known as the Digital Revolution, occurred in the second half of the 20th century. In just a few decades, we saw the invention of the semiconductor, personal computer, and the internet. So what separates the Fourth Industrial Revolution from the Third? Experts say the main difference is that technology is merging more and more with humans' lives, and that technological change is happening faster than ever. Consider this. It took 75 years for 100 million users to adopt the telephone. Instagram signed up 100 million users in just 2 years, while Pokemon Go caught that amount in 1 month. 3D printing is just one example of fast-paced technology in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The industry has gone from a business idea to big business, with 3D printer shipments expected to increase from just under 200,000 in 2015 to 2.4 million in 2020. Today, you can have a hip replacement from a 3D printed bone or use a 3D printed bionic arm. Talk about blurring the line between humans and technology, right? This new era of technology is driving a lot of innovation. You can see in this chart the number of patents related to the Fourth Industrial Revolution for things like 3D printing or AI has been climbing up and up since early 2000. Organizations are embracing new technologies to make their businesses more efficient, similar to how they embraced the steam engine during the First Industrial Revolution. But some companies and governments are struggling to keep up with the fast pace of technological change. Research shows innovators, investors, and shareholders benefit the most from innovation. The risk is that the Fourth Industrial Revolution is making inequality, which is already a big issue, even worse. One study found billionaires have driven almost 80% of the 40 main breakthrough innovations over the last 40 years. That's a problem when the richest 1% of households already own nearly half of the world's wealth. Experts warn we are in a winner-takes-all economy, where high-skilled workers are rewarded with high pay and the rest of workers are left out. Studies confirm technologies like AI will eliminate some jobs and create demand for new skills that many workers don't have. Privacy concerns are another issue as the Fourth Industrial Revolution turns every company into a tech company. Industries from food to retail to banking are going digital, and they're collecting a lot more data about their customers along the way. Users are starting to worry that companies know too much about their private digital lives. The World Economic Forum says a majority of leaders don't have confidence their organizations are ready for the changes associated with the Fourth Industrial Revolution. With tech changing fast every day, it's time to catch up.
The Fourth Industrial Revolution will impact our lives completely. It will not only change how we communicate, how we produce, how we consume, it will change actually us, our own identity, and of course gives life to such policies and developments like smart traffic, smart government, smart cities. What we will see is that everything will be integrated into an ecosystem driven by big data and driven particularly by close cooperation also of governments with business, civil society. And this revolution will come at a breathtaking speed. It will be like a tsunami. And actually, it's not just a digital revolution, it's digital, of course physical, with nanotechnology, but it's also biological. And so 3 dimension provides a particular force to this revolution. So what the World Economic Forum is doing is to promote this public-private cooperation to master the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution will have multifold impacts. Of course, every industry will be digitalized, will be disintermediated, and has to define a new business model. But it's not only business which is affected, it's government which has to move over to agile government, it is society as a whole, with the danger of job losses, but also with the need to reskill and upskill people fast. So there's an impact on society. So we will have to prepare very well for this revolution, and I feel that the Asian countries with a relatively young population can manage and master this revolution easier compared to other countries in the world. What is particularly important is the educational system. We have to change the educational system, which is still very much anchored even in the 19th century. We have to adapt it to the need to change continuously, for example, jobs. So the new educational system has not only been aiming at developing digital capabilities, and I should add ethical norms, that it also has to be based on a lifelong educational system.
So big data, digital tools at the service of medical and biological progress and advancing very fast. But can you imagine that in 10 years when we are sitting here, we have an implant in our brains, and I can immediately feel, because you all will have implants, and we measure your brain waves, and I can immediately tell you how the people react, or I can feel how the people react to your answers. Is it imaginable?
I think that is imaginable. I think you can imagine that. You can imagine, well, you're going to be sort of transplanted into the internet, so to speak, to live forever in a digital realm. You can imagine that you just in your biological incarnation are going to live to be some very long age. I think it is almost impossible to predict, and in fact, the evolution of technology might be inherently chaotic. I mean, it could have been the case a couple hundred years back if it so happened that electricity evolved a little bit faster compared to internal combustion, that we all would have been driving electric cars today, and then somebody would have a newfangled internal combustion thing that would be like, whoa, that's kind of weird. But history happened to go one way. Maybe there are fundamental inherent reasons for that. But I think when you ask these kinds of questions about the future, what does it mean to be human in the future? What does it mean to be an individual versus society? Kind of where are we going in the long term? I mean, these are deep and powerful and fundamental philosophical questions, but I don't know that we are equipped to answer them.
I think it's premature because we don't know yet how the technology will look like. But one fear which I have heard is that technology now and digital technologies mainly have an analytical power. Now we go into a predictive power, and we have seen the first examples, and your company very much involved into it. But then the next step could be to go into a prescriptive mode, which means you do not even have to have elections anymore, because you can already predict, and afterwards you can say, why do we need elections? Because we know what the result will be. Can you imagine such a world?
Well, you might then further ask, well, why do we need to have elected leaders at all? Because you might as well have all the decisions made. I think that's, once again, I mean, you're venturing into, I think, profound questions. You can ask also, what will we actually want? I mean, we have a set of values and desires today that are probably pretty different than, before the Industrial Revolution, and different still than before the Agrarian Revolution.
In the 20th century, wireless technology integrated with the human body was nothing more than science fiction. But today, Wi-Fi connected devices like heart rate monitors and sleep trackers have become common parts of American life. How has bionic technology evolved so quickly from science fiction to reality? And what could this Internet of Bodies mean for our lives moving forward? RAND researchers are studying this phenomenon and what consumers and policymakers need to know as we veer into uncharted territory.
The Internet of Bodies, or IOB, is actually an ecosystem. It's a bunch of devices that are connected to the internet that contain software and that either collect personal health data about you or can alter the body's function. We think of the Internet of Bodies as this collection of all these devices as well as all the data that the devices are gathering about you. And in healthcare, Internet of Bodies has been around for quite a while. With the advent of the internet, it makes a lot of sense to connect your pacemaker to the internet so that your doctor can be automatically notified if something weird happens, if there's an anomaly. First of all, there's the cyber risk of an actor potentially hacking into the system, whatever it might be. There's the privacy risk of all this data that's being collected, and the regulations about that data are really murky at the moment. And so there's not a lot of clarity into who owns the data, what happens to it, who it gets sold to, how it's being used. And there's even potentially national security and global security risks.
Imagine a world where all of your actions, from jaywalking to your online purchases, affected a personal score. High scores could lead to perks such as faster internet service, improved school options for your children, or favorable loan conditions. Conversely, a low score could result in being blacklisted, which could affect your ability to book flights, secure loans, or even buy property. Now, while this sounds like an episode of Black Mirror, it is a reality for people in China, where in 2014, their government announced a social credit system, which intended to standardize the assessment of citizens and businesses' economic and social reputation. It's a system that monitors, evaluates, and influences behavior, rewarding conformity to societal norms and penalizing deviations. Starting with the positives, a social credit system could theoretically encourage and incentivize positive social behavior. If good behavior, such as volunteering, recycling, or participating in community events, led to tangible rewards, such as lower interest rates on loans or priority access to services, it could foster a more socially responsible and engaged citizenry. Moreover, it could serve as a comprehensive tool for law enforcement and security, helping to maintain public order and safety. By deterring antisocial or illegal behaviors through the threat of social credit deductions, it might reduce crime rates or other undesirable activities. But a system like this also comes with serious potential drawbacks, as demonstrated by the Chinese example. Consider the case of Liu Hu, a Chinese journalist who found himself blacklisted after publishing articles that exposed corruption. His low credit score affected his ability to travel, purchase property, and even impacted his child's schooling options. This illustrates how such a system could be manipulated to suppress dissent and control citizens, leading to a significant reduction in personal freedoms. Imagining a social credit system in the United States, we are faced with profound questions. Could we, as a society, accept a constant monitoring and evaluation of our actions? Would we be comfortable knowing that our life choices or even unpopular opinions could have severe consequences? Moreover, who decides what is good or bad behavior? There's a risk that such a system could be used to enforce a homogeneous set of values, stifling diversity and individuality. While the potential benefits of a social credit system are apparent, the risks and challenges it presents are also significant. As we move forward in an increasingly digital world, it's important that we engage in these discussions. The Chinese social credit system offers us a glimpse into a potential future that is both intriguing and alarming. It's a reminder that as we stride forward into the world of technology, we must do so with caution, ensuring that our steps forward do not infringe upon the values we hold dear.